12:05, I guess we can go ahead and, I guess, call the meeting to order.
We're so good?
Well, because there's only 5 of members appointed right now. and
Oh, so we're
three,
still good, yeah.
You're good, you should be fine. So let me go ahead and do roll call and then you all can take over. Carlos Blanco, Jose Luis Tijerina, Ricardo Solis, Edward Ochoa,
Present.
Luis Ramirez.
Present.
Okay, you have a quorum, so now, are you all gonna do your stuff, or you want me to?
You go ahead.
Okay, the approval of the minutes, I think they're included in the agenda that was passed out. So I guess you all need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
What happened? Oh, here's Rick.
Oh, Wyatt. How you doing? Happy New Year.
I'm glad you were able to come.
Nice.
Able City?
Oh,
Where he works.
got it.
Yeah.
You were able to come to the city meeting.
Okay, so
Your ability.
there is a motion to approve your
Please take
minutes.
the roll.
Is there a
Rachel has
second?
the motion, I'll second.
Okay. Now, I guess, update on the water quality activities.
Okay, I can start with that. So, the water conservation program now lives under the formerly known as Water Pollution Control Division. So water pollution control did a couple of things, right? It did the pre-treatment program, which is the grease traps, fogs, and all of that. And then they dealt with taking the water quality samples that we know as like vacuum samples. And they also sometimes did backflow inspections. Well, now the water quality sampling has been moved over to the water plant. And so they have guys that are now doing the bacteriological samples. The bacteria samples, just so you guys know, that's what we test for E. coli.
The only concern I still have, I keep bringing it up since last year, is a backflow program.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Okay, but I'm saying I brought it up since last year.
Hi,
No.
how are you?
Okay, well.
Yeah, actually, I'll do a little ad lib here. Hi. We got our first Hi. Oh, hi, how you doing?
Oh,
We got our first complaint for enforcing cross-connection control from the TCEQ.
They were mad.
A resident complaint. That's how you know you made it. But go ahead, Sheila.
So now we're focusing on the backflow program and cross-connection control. The pre-treatment program has pretty much stayed the same. We're revamping some of the things that they're doing. For example, their sampling methods and equipment, which I'll get with Buzz later. But basically now we're hyper-focused on the backflow preventer program, cross-connection control, and pre-treatment. Yes.
Now, when it comes to the backflows, when they're being installed, are they inspected them before and after?
You have to
Great
install them, then you have to
Inspect
test them,
Yeah,
and you have to inspect them.
I don't understand that.
So just this week, I asked for a meeting with the building department because there was a, I guess there wasn't really like a line of communication with them. And so when you, for example, install an irrigation meter, you're required to install backflow. And the backflow is basically just a device that prevents water from backcycling into our water lines and contaminating it. So what was happening was on their list of things to do for a customer, they would say install the backflow and then go back to the building department and get this permit and then do this and then do that and then do that. But nowhere did it say that you had to test the backflow and that you had to give us the records for the testing.
And it has to be a certified
It has to be
backflow.
a certified
See,
tester.
that's what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
we went to go get our test, when it happened in Corpus, happened in the valley, they made us, we do a fire line, the guy who has it either gets certified or gets someone that's certified. So when we came to a radio, said, hey, is there a program? It's like, no, I was like, okay, well, that's why I've been pushing that.
Are you a certified tester?
Mhm.
Oh, well, great, now we can update our list. All you have to do is register with the city.
Oh, yeah.
You can register to be a backflow tester and I can send you the link.
So what I'm saying is that it wasn't being
It wasn't.
pushed by the fire department, it wasn't pushed, that's what I'm saying, that's why last
Yeah.
year I brought it up to that guy, it's like, I'm telling you that there's no inspections being done,
Yeah.
Okay.
But now there are. So we had, when the TCEQ came down, when we had the boil water notice.
Who would be that guy?
I was that guy.
They gave us a long list of potential cross-connection / backflow issues. We've addressed all of them, 362. And a lot of them were simple things like attach a hose bib to the side of your house, and some of them were you have to install a backflow, and some of them were just you have to test it because you haven't tested it in 15 years since it's been installed. And so it's going. The program
Yeah.
is going. Now we have to go back and we have a system that gives us notifications on which backflows are compliant, which ones aren't, and yeah, we're just taking it a step at a time.
So here's the other question, so the backflow operator goes, there's an issue, he cannot put, oh, it failed, he needs to fix it right then and then, that's another thing, where in communication, like, whoever's the backflow, I was like, hey, you need to fix it right there and then, because they're gonna fail it and just take off.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, some of the guys, oh, we just put fail and we got paid, it's like, oh, dude, you need to repair it, fix it.
Well, let's be clear. The backflow preventer belongs to the building owner or the
Yeah.
resident.
So they hire us.
So
to go
they are
inspect it.
responsible to test it. The way that works is that when it's tested, then that certificate is conveyed to us for our records.
Mhm.
If they don't test it, they need to be tested annually.
Yes.
We have what I'll call a roster of all the backflow
Mhm.
preventers in the city. And each of those has a date, a birth date, and then it needs to be tested. If we don't get the certificate that says it's been tested and certified, then we then go after the owner of the property.
No, I'm just saying, I just got, you have to year 3 years, say the biggest issue we're having right now is the guys that are testing are not fixing. They're just signing off and saying, hey, it failed. And
What are you talking about?
But
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just-
It has to be tested once a year,
yeah, so the guy
And they have
doesn't
to go-
test it, it fails.
okay?
He does the paperwork, and submits the paperwork, but he doesn't fix the issue.
But it's not him to fix it, it belongs to the owner.
The owner's gotta make somebody fix it, not us.
No, I'm not talking about, that's what I'm saying is that, what we're saying is that when you send the paperwork, don't send a failure.
Well, who is we?
The guy, the backflow, the guy who gets hired
The
to
tester.
test the backflow.
company.
So I go to your house, right, I got hired, you called me to go check it.
So you're talking about your own company?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm not talking about the city, I'm just saying when they submit the paperwork, they're saying, hey, don't be submitting failures, fix the issue and then submit to the city. Because the backflow's already, I'm not talking about the city.
But here's what I'm trying to say. I own the thing. It's like my furnace. If you come out and look at my furnace and it's not working, I gotta authorize you to fix it, don't I? You just can't go in and fix it and charge me $800. It's no different with a backflow
I agree with you, but
I have to test
the issue they
it.
were bringing up, that a lot of the backflow testers, not with the city, were not doing that, they were just submitting.
They're supposed to submit, so whether it passes or fails, they submit the paperwork to us. It's up to the property owner to fix it. However, let's say I don't have $800 to replace my backflow. They'll probably say, hey, can you come back and install it at a later date because I need to figure out what to do. But that notice that it failed still pops up on our system and we do the follow-up. So we'll send a letter, we'll make contact with the customer and say, I know you failed, but you have so many days to replace it.
Okay. That's
That was the issue they were having, that they had so much paperwork that they were not getting the communication correctly, but if that,
Because we're not doing paper anymore.
oh, it's all, yeah, it's all
Paper's
computerized now.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all computerized.
Well, those are excuses for failure, and we're not using those anymore, okay?
Okay.
We have a job as a utility to make sure that there are proper devices installed in proper places, right? There's different levels of backflow, right? Go RPZ, you can go double check, you can go vacuum. And so there's different applications. When those are installed, which just happens when buildings are built typically, and then there's this methodology of monitoring. Our job is to do the monitoring. If we don't get compliance, then we will terminate service. I will tell you right
Okay.
now, we're not gonna play games because. the
That's
stakes
what
are
I
too
wanted
high.
to hear. That's exactly what I
Okay,
wanted.
I thought that's where you were
Yeah.
fishing for. That's easy,
Yeah.
okay? And because we have to be diligent, and we're gonna be
Like
diligent.
a business, it doesn't matter, you know what, you're not compliant.
We're running a business,
Yeah.
a big business.
That's what I'm
and
saying,
an
so if
important
we don't
business.
fix it, well,
That's right.
okay, cool.
Okay.
That's exactly what I wanted.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I wanted to know what happens if it fails
Yeah,
and they
that's-
don't fix it.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, so,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I know that you took over the back T samples. The health department's still doing that for you?
No. Back T samples are not, well, back T
The
sample,
handles.
back T sampling has been moved to the water plant.
Really?
Yes.
That's good?
Yes.
Well, that's the way the world works, folks.
That's the way-
Okay?
I mean, really
Because the
good.
water plant's responsible for the quality of the water from the river to your faucet. We had two, let me say it, you guys are sports people, I'm sure. When you have too many handoffs, you have fumbles. We're getting rid of the handoffs. As I said, we now have taken that away from that group and said, your cross-connection control, your industrial waste and grease traps, fog, okay, and your conservation. Nothing else. You're not out running samples for this guy and doing all these other things. So that'll answer your question.
one more question, Chief.
Go ahead.
On the failures, it has nothing to do with this, but it's something that affects us all the time. We get a bill. Well, we don't mind paying, but we get it really like failures of bacterial testing when we're doing work on residential. If there's a failure, we pay for the failures. We've got an invoice before, but every time they send us invoices, they ask, what project is this? We don't know. But this is how much you owe. We don't mind paying, but I don't know if you guys are doing that to contractors who are failing bacterial tests.
That's more record keeping, is it not?
No, we don't know,
Are
no,
failing?
we get charged.
He's talking about construction.
You're
That-
talking about a
that's- he's
construction.
saying-
When they do their back T samples, where they run their lines?
Yeah,
they
we
have to
fail.
run
Okay,
back
so
T
let's,
samples.
now we've shifted.
That's what I'm
from
saying, as long as-
cross-connection
yes, I'm sorry, I
to
thought it was
something
the
else.
backflow.
But since you
We're
have
talking
to-
about installation of a water line.
Yeah.
And as you know, when a contractor puts a water line in a new development, they have to do pressure testing and they have to do bacteria testing,
Yes.
right?
And they use water to do that.
Absolutely, you gotta fill the line, you
No,
gotta
no,
put chlorine in.
when the bacterial fails, we've been charged before, but we don't
What
mind
do you get
paying
charged for?
for the failure.
No.
Because
No,
of
you
the
get
lab.
charged for the water use.
No, we get paid the water use, but then we've been getting bills from the health department. These are all
because
your,
they still
these are,
analyzed your sample.
hold on, these are all,
Oh, I see.
yeah, remember the cost, that's what I'm saying, the cost of them
Of the sample.
spending, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the water, the bulk water we pay,
Yeah.
everything we pay, it's that, but they give it to us so late,
That you don't know what project it's for.
yeah.
Oh,
So if
Well,
if that's.
you know, then
That's
that's the health department, we're not gonna
But
solve
now
that
she-
for you
but now
here.
she's-
No, no.
So they're still doing the.
Right,
Okay.
as of right now.
Okay,
And again, this is unique here, folks. There's no place I've ever been in my career that the water department and the water plant didn't have its own lab and did its own back teas. Again, we've got all kind of disparate things going on here. We're gonna try to realign them and reallocate them so that we have better chain of custody. Is that a nice way to say it? Okay? And this is all going on just as a routine processes as we work through things. We got a lot of things going on with road repairs and main break communications. We've got a lot of opportunities to improve our services, I guess is what I'm
okay,
saying.
that was it.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
That's public works.
But if you're taking samples to the health department, and you have a problem with that, you gotta talk to the health
Oh,
department.
yeah, no, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully, one day we will be doing our own sampling once we get equipment at the labs, so that way we can do them ourselves, but we're not there yet.
One little segue, because it's relevant here. We have a lab at one of our wastewater plants. Amazing. But we're still sending out samples to other places. That makes no sense. That will be transitioned, and there will be an incredible cost savings to us. And then we'll have a lab that we can use at 24/7 as we need it.
The Beagle Lab is set up that way.
Every water plant has a lab set up that way. We have 2 water plants and no labs. I don't know why, okay? And I don't wanna get into the whatever it is, but
We're working
that's,
on it.
yeah, we're working there. We're gonna get to the most efficient, effective way to do all these things that are typical things done in the utility,
Thank you.
okay? New world order.
I'll wait a minute.
Next item is staff realignment. We kinda already touched on it. Sheila's been moved over. Sheila was, as you know, in charge of conservation. We had an opening at the pollution control. I don't like the term pollution control when I'm running a water utility, so we changed it to water and air quality monitoring division. And so Sheila got a promotion, which is great. And so we've saved some money, but more importantly, we're giving a promotion opportunity to someone. And as we just talked about, we're refocusing the tasks that go on in that department. And we're doing a partnership with the health department. Well, that's where the air comes in, because there's gonna be monitors installed in the city. And Sheila's obviously has some expertise in that area, so that was a natural transition. So that's a partnership with the general fund. And there's more to come on that stuff as we work our way through the process. Update on water line replacements. You guys, everybody in this community is well aware that we have some challenges with main breakage and old infrastructure. I can tell you right now, we have we've identified 20+ water lines we will be replacing this year. And the thing I just said on TV for the mayor, for the state of the city is very simple. It's not the money, it's not anything, we have to execute. So, and I can tell you that, I can't speak for the person that's gonna be coming in here full-time, but water main replacement is just an integral part of running a utility, like any other piece of infrastructure. So I anticipate that we will go out for bid on these 2 mains. We'll pick a method. There are trenchless methods, which I would like to see us embrace, but it's all price and value, open cut versus trenchless. We'll see which is the most cost effective, and then we will just start line after line after line. And we won't run out of opportunities for quite a while. So that's coming in very short order. And the process has already started. The next item on here, I'm just gonna run through, and then if you guys have some open topics, I'm happy to discuss them with you. Update on wastewater tunnel. As you know, we're building a tunnel, 42-inch pipe to take water to the 54-inch, which goes down to South Laredo. The concept being that we're building a new wastewater plant up called Monadas. It should be online by year end. The tunnel's gonna be another 6 months after that, I think. I think it's gonna be mid-2026. But they're talking about taking some flow away from Zacate, which is another wastewater treatment plant we have. I just had that's still up in the air for me, whether Zacate lives or dies as an ongoing facility. But we've got a new plant going in, and we've got capacity available in South Laredo, and we've got expansion opportunities in South Laredo. So we're kind of plotting that out as we go.
How are we handling the break-off on the side of the Zacate plant? In the sewers? No, I'm just asking, we do cleanups there, and
I'm
I pass by, I'm just
glad.
like,
I don't know
man.
whether everybody here is aware, but we had to abandon, by the way, this happened almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we've abandoned a basin at the Zacate plant because the bank of the creek has sloughed and the basin has been exposed, and if there's a threat, it could fall into it seems unbelievable it could fall into the creek. So there's some significant issues there. I've had an engineering firm tell us what we could do to stabilize that. The debate will be whether we invest the money and how we handle that, but we've got an issue there, and we've lost the basin, which has even crippled the treatment capacity of that plant even more.
What about on the 54-inch line? I heard it collapsed again. Are we working on?
The 54-inch line, the bank, the line didn't collapse. The bank sloughed.
Right.
And unfortunately, during the process of replacing the bank, the main got broke. That's why we had a 54-inch break, self-induced. we fixed that, but there's good news. As part of this whole concept, which is supposed to happen at the end of 2025, there was going to be more flow put into the 54-inch to get it to South Laredo. Well, I should bring the picture in. That line is almost 50% filled with stuff,
Stuff.
okay?
We
so,
see milk
yeah,
car, I mean,
yeah.
those HEB carts inside those lines,
So the long and the short of it is,
followed by HEB.
you know, sometimes you just get lucky, but we'll now, Angel Leon is working on, we're gonna bring in some robotic assessment tools. We will then clean that line so that when we put new flow in it, it doesn't overflow and it can actually handle it. So all that's gonna happen in the next 12 months. It has to. And what I've told them to do now is I want a complete assessment of all of the key lines that will be involved in this transition to flow. Because I'm not gonna be here, but I don't want us to make this transition, turn this new plant on and find out that the lines are failing that are getting the flow to the plants. Okay? This, in my mind, should have been done as part of the plan, but it's gonna get done. So in fact, when all this happens, either end of this year or early next year, we'll know that what the lines are, they'll be cleaned, and we'll know they're stable so they can take the flow. So we don't have any failures. So that's happening as we speak also. That's a kind of a new thing that's kind of raised its head. Okay. Talked about the new plant's moving along, you know, the construction of it. And what I'll say related to this, which I think is maybe more relevant, we have draft water master plans and wastewater master plans and hydraulic models and studies of alternate supply and all these things. You know, I never got much value out of 3-ring binders sitting on a shelf. We need decision-making tools and we need to execute the plan. So one of the tasks I was given by the city manager was, look at all this stuff and let's get it to a decision-making point. Because how do you plan your capital? You know, I lived in Youngstown, Ohio. New York was 6 hours east and Chicago was 6 hours west. The important thing for me when I went to travel was, do I want to go to New York or Chicago? Because if I don't know when I start, I might find out I'm farther away from my goal than when I started. So this stuff becomes critical. We're spending money and doing this and doing that, but we need to make sure we're heading in the right direction, or we may be spending money to go to the wrong place. So it becomes incredibly important that we finalize these master plans so that we can then plan the outcomes that get us to where we want to go. So there's a lot of work and a lot of energy being put into getting us to that point. That will happen in the next 2 or 3 months, okay? But, you know, we're gonna close the loop on that and get it done.
So then you're gonna basically create an action plan from, that way, something that's executable. as
Yes.
opposed to just having a plan.
Yeah, well, we have a plan, but it's never finished, so we're doing, you know, this is a long-term business, and the tendency is if you don't plan your outcomes and complete your plans, you wake up at the end of the year and say, gee, I wanted to do all these things, but something else came up. Well, something else can't come up. Things come up all the time, but there's gotta be a fundamental plan and there's gotta be fundamental outcomes. Or we're gonna be behind the 8 ball with main replacements and all these other things. So, and by the way, it's not that hard. It just takes a discipline and it takes a direction and it takes performance management, you know? Set the plan, get the outcomes. Our issues are execution, and we're gonna work on that. But we gotta have the plan so that we can execute. So I wanna make sure we're comfortable with what outcomes. And so that's what we're working on. And most of these other things will just fall in place when that happens. But to make a long story short, if we get going on these main replacements, you should see main breaks start to diminish. In another place I happened to work not too long ago, we went from 650 main breaks a year to 380 in 4 or 5 years. Now in that case, that was a difference of 2 billion gallons. You know, everybody talks about source of supply. Cut your brakes out, You can create a decent source of supply just by managing the source of supply you have well. Okay? So all these things will come together and there'll be some very, very good results. But we've got to get 20 things going versus focusing on one thing and hoping that's the magic bullet, because it's not. Water, water conservation and all these things are not leak detection. They're leak detection, they're valve programs, there's main break replacement, there's plant operation, and we've got opportunities in every one of those areas to get better, which will reduce the amount of water we need to serve our residents, without telling our residents they can't get water, because they are our customers. So that's the balance, and so we're working on all those things. You'll continue over the next few months to hear progress on those areas, and you should demand it. Let's see, is there anything else that you might want to know? We're also starting we're actually starting a meter replacement program to AMI, that's, automated meter reading.
Yeah.
We have sort of one, but it doesn't work. We have this, it doesn't work. We got a mishmash, so.
Because I know we started 359 back in 10 years ago, and that didn't
Yeah,
work out.
well, something. It should work, but it doesn't. So we will be transitioning over to a new system that does work. There'll be about a 4-year change out.
Cool.
But as we progress, and I've told everybody else that once we get there, then we can incorporate a customer portal so we can get information to people. One thing we're really working on, that again, will be subtle, but it'll be important. We need to gather information about our customers, contact information. We struggle. I mean, we're behind the curve. Most places have emails and phone numbers and those kind of things, so that when we want to get information out, we can blast it out. We need to get good at that. We need to get on that.
I was gonna ask, and I was gonna tell you, is there a way you could get with TAMU and do internships so they could help you with conservation, taking over the like pages, pushing stuff, stuff that I mean, they'll get something out of it, but there'll be interns who are concerned about water, environmental, but they could help.
Well, you'll see in my presentation to council, or at least in the thing, I'm doing a 60-day analysis I'm giving with the city manager, but one of them is, I worked very closely with UTA when I was in Arlington. They're a resource, they're also an opportunity to recruit some people, and we need some talent. So that's gonna be one of my suggestions.
And TAMU does have a big volunteer group, over 152.
Well, again, that's nice.
Yeah.
We're not gonna allocate key performance measures here to a volunteer group. But what I'm saying is, there's technology they can bring, and they can do some research for us, and they can be a conduit for us to get some people.
Okay.
So I'd like to have some relationships with them. And I know there's another college in town too. I'm a big fan of community college type concept, and our employees, we're gonna get into a much more aggressive training regiment coming up, because we need to do that. So again, I'm talking about a lot of things, but all these things in my mind will need to be put in place if we're to get the job that we want to get
Yes.
done.
We all help each other.
Okay, yeah.
On the testing, just a question about that. I guess the labs have to have some sort of certification or something.
You're talking about the back teeth? Yes.
So that's been done.
Well, they're
Health
still.
department is still
they're
doing the
still
testing.
doing it, yeah.
I see, okay.
So, sorry, maybe I didn't explain it well enough.
So you're.
The Water Pollution Control Program or Division used to take the back teeth samples. Now we don't take them anymore. It's been moved to the water plant and their staff.
Got it, okay. But you're still sending samples?
Take the samples.
The
to the
samples
health
are
department.
still sent to the
Which is the
health
most critical
department.
part of the process.
Sure, that's an important part.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you're not actually doing the.
But you're not doing the testing,
in the
it's-
lab.
the lab testing is still
We've
not being
never done
done.
the testing.
Right,
Yeah.
Only the health department
Yeah.
does the testing, or the analysis of the sample.
And that was why I was asking earlier, because have y'all got the health department on board with what you guys are doing?
Yes.
Because like they march to their own drum, like,
Well,
Yeah.
let me say this diplomatically. We have a utility to run. We need samples and we need results when we need them.
that's correct.
If they're gonna provide that service to us, they have to accommodate our needs. We can't accommodate their needs. We can accommodate our mutual needs. Is that a fair way to say it?
Very,
Very well done.
very well said.
No, and I mean that. Any service provider to us has to meet our service needs. And we need to be more rigorous about that, because otherwise, when we don't do that and we have failures, it's catastrophic.
Sure.
So, I guess to answer my question now is, so you got somebody now that, hey, we're doing samples, I need you to have somebody ready, because we're bringing in samples, I need you to have somebody there, like,
Bubba does, yeah.
yes.
We are getting there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we are getting there.
Okay.
And and by the way, they've been great. Sometimes it just takes somebody to say, this is what we need you to help us with, okay? And I'm willing to do that, because I'm not willing to compromise this operation for those kind of things, so. But they've been great to work with. And we've got an agreement now, when we need off-hours things, they'll accommodate that, so it's important. It's important. That's the best way I can say it. It's not an issue.
That answers my question.
Okay.
Okay.
and mine as well.
Well, it's just, typically a big water plant or wastewater plant they have chemists, they have, it's a certified lab. They do
Well,
all-
let me say, but you're exactly right. That's standard procedure. I've never seen anything like this. I'm not criticizing it, but we have, as I said, we have a lab at North Laredo. We have 4 people working there, and we're sending out samples. And so when I ask the question, why? The answer is, well, we haven't been able to buy the equipment to do the testing. Well, the fact of the matter is, we can buy the equipment 5 times over with the savings we're gonna get. So guess what we're gonna do?
Sure.
We're gonna buy the equipment, we're gonna certify our lab, and we're gonna do the sampling here, okay? And we're gonna save money, and we're gonna get better results. Because sometimes when you're running utilities and you have parameters to meet for your effluent, for example, in the wastewater, timing is everything. Because if you have a high something, it's a monthly average. Well, if I know about it this week, I can maybe make sure we don't exceed the monthly average. If I don't find out about it for 3 weeks, guess what? I've run out of, and now I have a violation. And so we gotta be better at that, and we're gonna do that, okay?
And once you guys are certified, can we bring samples from Heavenville to a lot better?
We're gonna, I'll give you my vision. We will get certified. We will then be able to do samples for other people and generate some revenue. I wanna raise this utility to where I believe it should be. This is not a mom and pop place, okay? We're gonna start acting or operating like a top-notch place, okay? We'll get there, it'll take time, but that's how you do that. You become the expert, right? And we'll get the certifications just like everybody else can. We've got 4 people there, and they're all, by the way, they all have graduate degrees, which is wonderful. And they got a beautiful aquarium. I just want to prove to you I've been to the plant. But anyways, you get the drift. And so these are things I think our employees will enjoy. It'll bring some credibility to us. And if we make some revenue on the side, that's great. And we can help other utilities. Because we're the big guy in the block here.
That's right.
And we want to act like the big guy in the block.
So then the stormwater is now part of utilities, is what I'm reading.
That's the,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's the latest and greatest.
Yeah,
It's on your, it's on your.
Well,
it's in
yeah,
this packet.
stormwater is being transitioned into the utility department. That was announced, I think, a day ago. So, we'll be
It's no longer
walking.
under environmental.
That's
Well,
correct.
right now it's under engineering.
No, it's, well, I don't know what it's under.
Well, I'm dealing with engineering with environmental.
Well, it is, I mean, it's always been, I think, under environmental, but lack of staff, I guess, the engineering guys have been taking over.
It wasn't like a staff. Don't get it twisted. Like a management.
As I said, we're gonna start transitioning, I think there's 51 or 52 employees. And you know, it's funny, my job is to transition our organization, Charlie. Take care. Thank you. Thanks. I'm debating, I can tell you that I don't believe that it will be a part of some new division stuck over here. I think there's gonna be synergies in bringing them into the utility operation, and I wanna get it. In other words, you run a department that needs Vector trucks, and I run one.
Put them all together.
You gotta have three, I gotta have three, because we gotta have a backup. Well, when we put them together, we only need one backup, so now we only need 5, not 6. You get my drift? I'm gonna look for all of those opportunities when I sit and look at what resources they bring, people, equipment, whatever it is. And so the city should generate some synergies, and create some efficiencies. So that's how I'll kinda look at it when I get all the pieces and parts.
So you're in it,
What is this?
so environmental's coming over here?
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Well, not
They
all
got-
of environmental.
They gotta work now.
No, because the hazard section is shifting over to solid waste. All the hazards and whatever that is, that goes to solid waste. We get stormwater, but there's other components to environmental, so does environmental still gonna exist, Buzz, or is environmental completely going away?
Listen, I have no comment on what I don't know, and I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna get what I get, and I'm gonna incorporate it into this operation as I said. I'm not gonna-
Yeah, I mean, those vac trucks are brand new. You never use them. So you're getting some good vac trucks.
Yeah.
And the personnel will either fall in line, I mean, they gotta get on board.
Yeah, you know,
We'll see by the next
Wait,
meeting.
Flash, we
We'll
don't
see by
know,
next
we don't know
meeting.
how it's gonna plan out, so it's just.
and I don't wanna prejudge anything. I've been doing this a long time.
Now, can I ask who made the change? The city manager?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
So, as I said, I'm gonna go about it the way I described it. We're looking for efficiencies and effectiveness. If they have some skills that we need, that'd be great, right? They have equipment we need, that'd be great. And then we'll ferret out what's appropriate, you know, and weave them into our operation. There are, in my opinion, I ran Public Works at a couple places, there are some clear synergies between Public Works and you know, because that's a pipeline, right? Stormwater's a pipeline. And so we do pipelines, and we do cleaning, and we do pump stations and those kind of things, so. You've got a handout, let me go through that a second before we get too far through here. In that handout, which is something I prepared previously, I'm giving you pieces of it, you'll see the org chart with the yellow boxes are the transition of water conservation into water pollution control. Those swoosh together, and if you go back to the next page, you end up with this. The Superintendent of Water and Air Quality Assurance Monitoring, and you can see that we've got now 9 technicians. We've got it allocated into backflow and industrial waste. Neat and clean, it's got accountability, and it's got direct responsibility.
So this is how it was, and this is how it works.
Yes, yes. The yellow boxes are where they were on the chart, and they've been transitioned into the exhibit behind it. And again, that's all done for reasons of efficiency and accountability and those reasons, not just because we had somebody who didn't know what they were doing. So. The next page in the handout is a picture of what we've ordered already. Remember I talked about a valve program? We will have a valve program that will be second to none. We've already ordered two of these new automated trucks with the trailer. We will have 4 automated valve operating tools. We will incorporate that in our routine operations. There'll be no more going out on planned shutdowns and finding out that there's 6 valves that don't work, and what we thought was 2 streets is now 8 blocks. Okay? Those days are over.
Is this guy coming with the truck too?
If I could get them. You see those arms on that guy?
Yeah, I was like, do we get one of these too?
Yeah, if I could get them. But anyway, you know, this is another thing. These have been ordered, they'll be in a month. And it's gonna happen, and I will hold the people that run that department accountable to get the valves operated, and, you know, a lot of our problems are, we got huge shutdowns because we got 6 valves broke and whatever.
I had an idea one time that to hire a 4 or 5 crew, right, even outside the city, where all they do is walk every block, take information of every meter, every fire hydrant, everything they see, fix any issues that they see, and that's all they do all year, just walking until they get all the information down to the city, you know. I thought it was a great idea, because nothing to do with the city, but you hire outside and all, that's all they do. This address has this.
You had the European model. When I was in Paris, because I got to go there to visit with the utility company that runs Paris, and they own. The city owns the operation, but they allocate it out. Right. And they have what's called sector supervisors. And so you split the city into, I was gonna do this in Arlington, actually. You split the city into X amount of segments, and you say, you're the sector supervisor. You read the meters, of course, we don't do that anymore, it's automated. You ride around, if there's a street repair that hasn't been done, you call it in, because it's your sector.
Yeah.
It's like the mailman, and I like that. I think that's a great concept. So, we're gonna do that. We may not do it in that form, but we're gonna be that, we're gonna be that diligent about our job. I now have put in place a standard that when we have an excavation, within 15 days, we will have made final repair in the street or the lawn or whatever, will be back to the status it should have been in. That's been put in place yesterday, and so we'll see how it plays out. When I talk about valves, I told the crew, before we have a planned shutdown, you're gonna go out and test every valve that you're gonna operate to do that, because if 6 valves are broke, you're gonna know that the shutdown is gonna be 20 blocks, not 2 blocks. And we'll be able to notify people properly. It'll narrow down the time out on the job.
Yep.
What I expect them to do is excavate before, find out what's in there and get it ready, so the next day, most of the time and by the way, with our valve program, you're gonna see streets tore up, because we're gonna break valves, we're gonna find a lot of valves that are broken. You know, the other thing we're gonna find a lot of valves that are closed, that we didn't know they were closed, and that's why we got flow problems. I'll give you the answer, because I've been down this road in 10 places. But that's all healthy, it's all part of getting better.
Correct.
And so I'm gonna say this to council or anybody else, because I gotta make a presentation, but that's what's gonna happen, and you're gonna see it. And so it'll just work its way through the process, okay? But we wanna get better at communicating. I want our communications to be exact, not this, well, we think it'll be this area and then other areas. No. We know when we shut the valves off what's shut down. We can define an area absolutely discreetly. It's not a guessing game. If we do what the procedure I've talked about. So that's been put in place this week. So again, as we get into things, we just keep coming, we just keep building these things. And what'll happen is if we build them, and we build a lot of them, which we will, you'll see it, the example I'll give you, and then I'll stop talking. If you've ever run track, and you know there's things called staggered start, okay? Well, if you're the guy on the inside lane, you look out and you go, my God, that other guy's around the curve, I'll never catch him, right? That's the problem you run into in organizations that have challenges. They go, it's so overwhelming, we'll never get there. Well, you know what you learn? If I'm faster than he is, I win, right?
Sure.
Even though he starts there and I start here. Well, it's the same way with this stuff. It's a big deal, it's a big elephant, but we're gonna just, and when it all comes together, and when we get to that point where the lanes even up, we'll be ahead. we've made progress. But you gotta have faith, and you gotta do the right things to get there. Because it's not a magic pill, we didn't get here in a week. We won't get it fixed in a week, but maybe 2, okay? But we won't get anything improved if we don't start. Part of it's reorganization. I will tell you, we will get the people the best tools available. We'll get robotics in here, we'll get trenchless technologies in here, we'll get training, we'll buy, what do we call those things they use out in the field, the pads or whatever?
For what?
For
The
data.
iPads?
iPads and those kind of things. We have them, but they don't work. Well, we're gonna get the ones that work, okay? Just a novel concept. So, you get my drift. I mean, we're just gonna walk our way through this stuff. You'll see changes,
How do you eat in
but
there?
they'll all be hopefully
How do you
constructive.
Sure.
Okay? All right, now I'm gonna stop talking.
Don't eat an elephant?
One bite at a time. Right?
What's that?
How do you eat a elephant? One bite at a time.
That's right. But you gotta start.
Yeah,
That's, most of the time, they can't get started. And, you know, I've run into this my entire career when back in the day when we were starting to get into automated meter reading, and they'd say, oh, Buzz, it's gonna take us forever to get done. I said, you know what, humor me, let's just start the process. And then you wake up 5 years later and you got there.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just seems overwhelming.
It seems overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, it
that's-
You have to
does.
start.
You gotta get over that.
Yeah, you have to get past that.
Yeah, it's like a great coach or whatever that takes over a football program that's terrible.
Yeah.
When you start, you get there. Most people go, I'm not going there. But if you get there and you make it work, life gets pretty good. And we can do that here. We got people that want to do it. I believe we have the support of the city manager and the mayor and council. To me, that's most important. And I'll try to provide all the expertise and direction I possibly can in the time I'm here. And I think you'll see some changes, and there's already some changes going on, but those will come together. We'll get to that point in the relay race where it really stands out. Are we close to time?
Yep.
So this last,
Yeah, you
this
do.
last document here, that's about the lead and copper.
Yes.
Well,
The
let
last-
me finish with that. Another story. We were supposed to do an inventory of all our service lines. It was supposed to be done in October. We had 3 years to do it. We didn't do it. So we've accelerated the inventory and we got it done. So we're now in compliance. The next step is then you have to publish that inventory and you have to notify the public. That's important, you have a 30-day window. So we've now done the inventory and got caught up, we're in compliance. Now we've got to meet this 30-day window for notification, which we're doing as we speak. These are the talking points. I told you I'm a fan of communication. These talking points have been provided to all of our call centers, all of our employees, and they're going to be put on the website. There's one message, and there it is. Okay, I don't want anybody ad-libbing. This stuff's important, right? Because the first question I got, Buzz, does this mean we have lead in our water? No, we don't have lead in our water. We may have lead in some people's plumbing, right? We may have lead in some people's service lines, but we don't have lead in the water. Okay? And we do a lot of testing for lead, and we've never been out of compliance in the system. But this is the new regulation, and we're gonna meet regulations. And the last thing I'll say to you, because it just covers the whole waterfront. Compliance with regulation is mandatory, it's not an option, it's not a guideline. We are never gonna be knowingly out of compliance. That cannot be, okay? I can't say it any better. The rules are the rules, and we're gonna follow them. If we think they're wrong, we're gonna try to change them, but we're gonna follow them. And so, I don't want this utility of this community to be bludgeoned with the fact that you're out of compliance, okay? It's just not acceptable. And so I've told all of our staff, capital budgeting is very simple. The first line item, the first priority is absolutely mandatory to stay in compliance. Those will get done and will get funded. All this other stuff is nice. Water main replacement is not mandatory, but we're gonna do it, but you get my drift. If we have to put a pump in or order some piece of equipment or whatever it is to be in compliance, that's at the top of the order, okay? So we're now in compliance for lead. That's great, because I didn't want that hanging over our head. But we missed the window. We had 3 years to get to the window. It wasn't as if they gave it to us 2 weeks before October. Okay. And those are the talking points, you got the same ones. That's what the call center has, that's what the mayor has, that's what the city manager has, that's what our website will have. And I think you'll find that anytime we're gonna do any public pronunciations, this is the process I like. Sit down, do the Q&A, educate everybody so that when we get the first call, they got the right message, and I don't have to keep unwinding somebody's opinions.
Well, he said, and
Yeah.
they said,
That's right. And
we heard.
And we'll still have some of that,
Yeah.
but I can always refer them to the facts, okay? So I like a team, I like an organization that has a high sense of urgency, but I want urgency with efficiency and accuracy, okay? If I don't know the answer, I won't tell you. I'll have it probably pretty quick, but I will get you the right answer. I'm not gonna just ad-lib things.
Maybe we should
That's
tell our
very
council members
constructive.
that.
Well, council members have a different, they're in a different world.
The only thing I want to do different this year, I don't know if you guys agree, is that every time we show up to a meeting, and I didn't do it, I want to get with my council member, be like, hey, we're going to meet next weekend or 2 weeks from now. Is there any topics you want us to talk about, stuff like that? Because what I hate is when they go up to go talk, you know, they said, no, we have a meeting every month. You haven't talked about anything like that. You'll have your committee members that haven't brought up any problems or situations. At least when we show up, it's like, Ms. Ciaro would like to know about this and this and this, and he's aware. Whoever your district, at least we bring it up here and we say it in the meeting, if we discuss it or not. But these are topics that my council member would like to discuss, because I want him to go, or whoever's going to be there going up to city council is like, no, well, we meet once a month. Your topics were never brought up. You know, the committee member talks to you and asks you if you have any questions and stuff like that, so we can bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that.
I know, but we
over the
don't.
year. I haven't done that recently,
But
but
I'm saying,
I've
but we
done that
don't-
over the
yeah,
last few
but I'm
times.
saying we should be like, District 7, do you have any questions from your council member? At least just do a round. It's like, oh, these are the topics that Ms. Ciaro is concerned about. And we don't have to discuss them right there and then, but we are letting.
Well,
I don't know if that's possible.
I think the first meeting I had, I actually sent a note to all of you saying, I'm more interested in what you and your councilman want to know than me giving you a speech, because I could talk for 5 hours about this business, right?
Yeah.
But I want to be on point.
Yeah.
So I try to guess at some things that I think you might find relevant, okay, and we put those in here. But if you guys came in and by the way, this is the same way with my weekly staff meetings, we have one. I'm more interested in what my staff is needing of help to discuss at that meeting than me giving an oration, right? So I welcome them to add topics to the agenda. It's my agenda, it's my meeting, but I don't have a problem with that. We send you out this night, put open topics. What that meant was, give us your topics, I'll put them on the agenda to make sure they get covered, or I'll provide the information that I need to give you to address what you're asking. For example, if you came in and said, you know, Buzz, we're having a problem with the communications and all these main breaks, and there's this and that, I would give you the new procedures we put in place to deal with main breaks, for example, because I know that's what you're gonna ask me. I didn't include that here because we're gonna do it anyways, and we have things that come up with policy things that we're changing all the time on a routine basis. But if that's something that one of your council people or you guys see out, by the way, I value this as a sounding board. You're out in the city, you're interacting with people. I want to give you guys the message so that if somebody asks you, what's the deal with this lead thing? I know it.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this valve thing? What's the deal with this, you know, you can be a resource for feedback, but you can also be a resource for knowledge.
Sure.
And I want to keep you up to date and involved with that stuff. So, and by the way, if anything comes up between meetings, call me. Melissa and Tyler have no trouble sending me texts.
Yep.
Okay?
I was gonna say, I know he had a concern with what went on yesterday, because that's in his district. And I, as a matter of fact, I was literally driving to work, and I pulled up on that street. I go that way to
On
work.
Burke?
Yeah, on Burke, and I'm looking at that, staring, that water doesn't look like it's coming
Coming
from
yes,
upstream.
I know.
It was coming from the curb, and somebody was behind me, so I turned, and I said, I need to take a picture. So I came back and I U-turned, and by the time I came back, there was a utilities truck already there.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm glad the guy was there, because I was about to take a picture and send it to 311 or Jerry. But, you know, I'm glad I'm glad they were on it quick enough. Maybe they had already heard about it or whatever. But yeah, I noticed, you know, he brought up those concerns, you know, online yesterday. I'm sure he let you guys know. He's very
Absolutely.
direct about that.
Yeah, and by the way, it was like when I was teaching at Butler, you know. If you cancel a test, all the kids that prepared were disappointed. All the kids that didn't were thrilled. So I'm the kid that prepared, I hope.
Yeah.
And when you ask me a question, I like that because then I can tell you what we're doing rather than just bombard you with stuff.
So that's something I was like, you know what, we should get, you know, because I never get with Elisa. I just, you know, but I'm gonna make an effort this year, be like, hey, Elisa,
Well, self-proclaimed.
I'm gonna go over there and be like, hey, every times like that, because I want to make sure we're in communication with them, and not you coming up with stuff and we're like, well, we didn't know about that issue. So I don't know if it's something we should do.
Let's use this forum for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's something we should do. I mean, everybody does what they want with their committee chair seat, but I've communicated with Dr. King every few months. I would like to communicate with him a little bit more, especially now that, you know, things are gonna be changing, and he's always had a concern of.
Well, that's the thing, so he always
so-
like, okay, I know,
Yeah.
so Lou told me about this, I know, so he has all this notches going through.
Sure, I would value that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, because I was in his position, I would like to know what they're.
Yeah, you don't wanna be surprised by something if we.
I call him, I'm like, am I on our meeting?
No, I know.
What would you like me to,
Yeah.
is there anything you want me to
But we gotta
address?
keep it in.
Well, let me
record.
give you
Yeah.
a quick, if I could, you have a minute? This is real life. 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 plumbers came in, they made an appointment, they came in to see me. They said, Mr. Fisher, we got a problem. I said, what's up? They says, you allow these T accounts, these T service lines, I don't know whether you guys are aware, we do a development here, which is unique. We put one service line in and then tee it off for 2 houses, right? Okay,
Yeah, double service.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Problem is, in our ordinance, it says if you want a irrigation meter, you have to have 1.5 inch service line. We're specking those at 1 inch.
Yeah.
So, these residents, I mean, you could build a brand new, I don't know what an expensive house is here, $1 million house expensive here?
Yeah.
That's way more than our budget.
Yeah, I would think.
Okay. All right.
That's Regency.
Okay, so you build $1 million house, you move in, it's brand new, you say, I want a sprinkler meter because I don't want to pay for sewage on my irrigation system. And we go, sorry, you're gonna have to put a new line in because your line's only 1 inch. I sat down and they were telling me, and I said, well, okay, then let me ask you guys this question. So if I don't ask for a meter, do I get to have the, well, yeah. I said, okay, so, by the way, we've already changed our rules and regulations. All new T services will be 1.5 inches to match our ordinance. Now, we've been doing this for I don't know how long. You got an ordinance that says this and a policy that says that.
Yeah.
And so I sent those 2, I got their communication information. I sent them a nice letter yesterday saying, thank you. You've not only helped me, but you've helped this whole community, and we've already made the changes to address this issue. Okay? So this doesn't have to be a bureaucratic process. Right's right, and timeliness is timeliness. And so, I mean, they were astounded because they see me on Monday, and by Wednesday, the policy's changed. But this stuff isn't hard.
Yeah.
And it's just oversights, right?
Sure.
And so, when you get me that kind of stuff, we can react to it, I guess is what I'm saying.
One thing that I'll say on that, and I brought this up several years ago when I started on the committee, was, I mean, as an engineer, whenever new policies come out, the one thing that we get caught by is we don't know when is the effective date, right? Because obviously we're going through a design process. It takes several months of planning out a subdivision, et cetera, et cetera. When is the effective date? It's happened to me before. This was a long time ago, but I showed up to One Stop Shop with a set of plans, and there was something with a fire hydrant, and I had it there. And they made a comment, switch that. Okay, so I switched it. I came back with 2 months later with another set of plans on another project. I did it that way, And they were like, oh no, now we have this change. When did I know about that change? You know? So it just, I mean, to me, that's just a simple thing, just some language that says, we're doing this, if it's effective to like a design, because then they don't know how to implement it.
Because what you're saying is, we've now made the change, I said, change our specs.
Sure.
So if you get a current set of specs from us, it should be changed.
Yes, sir.
I've also said in the writing, in the write-up in the ordinance, if you have a 1 inch, we're gonna let you put the meter in. But if you're not happy with the service, it's gonna be on your dime to upgrade the service line size. That's fair.
Sure.
Sure. But I'm not gonna preclude you from getting the meter because we've undersized the line
Right.
that you need to put it on.
Yeah.
But the question you asked, which I think is a really relevant one, which again, I haven't, you know, I'm trying to, I can't deal with everything yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, those are finite details,
Yeah,
and little
but
things
they're
that are
important.
not of utter importance.
weeds.
That's what,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
that's
they're
what-
important because everywhere I've been, we had a relationship with contractors. I rewrote the entire ordinance for the utility department in Arlington myself over time. I changed all of our building specs, and plan specs,
Mhm.
hydrants and all these things.
Yeah.
But we published them and sent them out to the contractors. They're on our website. And the change isn't until the day it's changed, so, you know, it should have changed this week. So if
Yeah.
you came in with a set of plans next week, but I would hope that we would, and I don't know the process here, that's what you'll make me look at. How does the communication go out to the development?
So like that one on the T connections, I got an email.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got an
Okay,
email
good.
as an engineer, and it was an email to all the engineers, I don't know.
That's what I hoped.
Contractors got it,
Okay.
but we got it, I'm like, oh, great. As soon as I got it, I shared it with my staff. Hey, guys, anybody working on anything, pay attention to this, we've gotta do it this way.
Okay, so it did get out.
Yeah, it got out.
Good.
But a lot of them don't get out.
Well, I
We
only
find
give
out
you
about
2
them.
months,
Yeah, yeah.
and
No,
that's
no,
the
no,
only one
yeah.
I've changed.
Sure.
So it got out, so I'm happy, because you're either helping me find a flaw,
Yeah.
or it worked.
Yeah, no, it
Tell me
worked. It worked. That was good, and I'd like to see that.
Because I told
Any
my
other things
staff
that-
going forward, any ones we replace, we will replace an inch and a half, okay?
Yeah.
I think we haven't put an inch and a half for a while.
Yeah, inch and a half is not really, like
No,
you said,
the
the
most
double.
messed up one was show up with the fire department. Oh, now you have to put purple pipe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
For like a year or so.
Yeah.
It's like, where did it say that? No, you just have to put purple pipe. And then they came back. We were wrong. I know you were wrong.
Yeah, I remember that one. A lot, yeah, we do a lot.
But
of
there's no
these.
notice. There's nothing. It's
No
just-
notification, you find out when you're submitting. and
Oh,
you
now
gotta
we decided
comment.
you to do this.
And-
We should have an
And that's, to me, that's an overall, maybe city of Laredo. I mean, we battle that issue with
Yeah, but
engineering, we
we're-
battle it with environmental.
Yeah, but I'm happy to
everything.
carry that ball for you,
Sure.
because I agree with that, by the way.
Yeah.
okay?
No, I will tell you, I appreciate that as soon as you mentioned the T connection, I waited, I said,
Now
I
you
want to
know
let you
how-
know.
now you know why it happened.
We got it, yeah, and that was
Now you know why
good,
it
that's the way we would like to see it, so.
But I-
Keep
Well,
working.
one piece at a time.
But my
Yeah.
point is, if we get good feedback, we will act on it.
Yeah,
That's the message.
yeah, that was
That was
good,
the moral to the story.
yep.
So we don't have a chairman, and I put which was.
Well, I think
Well,
you're all gonna have to select.
We
one
don't
because you
have,
can't
who was, our chairman was
Mr.
Onyx.
Onyx was from the time.
He
The
was,
chairman has to buy the lunch?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
No.
We had a
The
chairman and
chairman
vice
was
chair.
Mr. Benavides, but when
Kuka.
he said, I'm out because Albert's out, so I'm out, so he stopped coming.
Who's Albert?
Douglas. He was
Councilman.
district
Councilman
court,
that just got-
councilman. Yeah, so he said, I'm done,
Everybody's-
and then, but you were the chair,
You were the vice
or the
chair.
vice chair, or whatever. So, because now you have only 5 right now until we fill up the other slots, somebody has to take the lead role and then be the chair, or whatever.
Well, I
So
mean,
maybe it's
well,
food for
well,
thought. Or
I
we
mean,
just-
that's kind of not a really critical issue, is it?
But it's
I mean,
not
not,
very
I would, I would.
Fiduciary
I
committee.
really don't care about chairman and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, to me, this is an advisory committee, but it still would be nice to have a chair just to kind of control meetings. I mean,
Okay,
but
well-
I wouldn't,
Nominated yourself.
Well, again, remember, you guys are volunteers, and I want to put as little burden on you as possible. I appreciate you coming, that's
Yeah.
a big deal.
I mean, we're happy to run the meetings, that's not a problem.
Okay, we're good.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I would suggest that, I mean, before we elect another chair and vice chair, it would be nice to get a
A
lot more
full,
people
a
in. Yeah.
full panel,
Right.
and then maybe bring that up, how's that?
That's right.
I mentioned that to,
You don't even use a quorum,
We
but,
need it, no, right?
but it'd be
I
nice
mean,
to
all
have-
committees have, my understanding is all committees have a chair and vice chair. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to formally approve the minutes of the last meeting and so on, right? We got a couple of formalities from my experience, but I would rather wait. I mean, for now, we can just conduct as we are. Have the city just, like you all did, just conduct.
So do you have any topics that you would like covered for the next meeting?
No, but, well, for me, I'll relay all this information to my council member, and
Yeah.
if she has anything she wants to add.
That's the only thing I'd say, we could, before the meeting, have any emails from us saying, hey, this is what topics are, and maybe he could settle them before we meet. But as soon as Jerry sends it out to,
When Jerry sends you the agenda, it's already been, because it's already been, it has to get posted 72
Yeah.
hours before, so what I could do is I could ask Jerry to send you an email at least a week or two before and saying, hey, what topics would you like to have covered?
Yeah.
And then we could put those on the
Yeah,
agenda.
that'll work.
That'll work.
yeah, because I really didn't like when you guys go up there and they're talking, I'm like, they could have asked us to ask you guys for any information, and they're not using us. I mean, you might talk to them, but we don't say, hey, Tyler's good right now, no Tyler concern. It's all written down on emails.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, motion to
Thank you.
adjourn?
Be safe.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All righty.
Thanks.